Okay, let's talk about the one question that is keeping executives up at night pretty much everywhere. Are our massive, and I mean massive, investments in AI actually paying off? Because, the time for just playing around with AI is over. The era of accountability is here right now. And there is. That's the question. Those three little words every CEO, every CIO, every leader is hearing from their board, from their investors, from the CFO. It's just not enough anymore to talk about all the amazing potential of AI. It's time to prove the performance. And believe me, that pressure is seriously mounting. A recent report found that a whopping 61% of CEOs are feeling a major increase in pressure to show tangible, hard number returns on what they're spending on AI. The clock is officially ticking. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you the new playbook. First, we'll dig into why the old ways of measuring ROI are just completely failing us when it comes to AI. Then, and this is the good part, we'll lay out the 10 modern metrics that are going to change the entire game. After that, we'll show you how to put it all together in a dashboard that actually makes sense. And finally, we'll talk about what the new bottom line for AI value really looks like. So, why is this so darn difficult? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. We're using a playbook that's totally out of date. Trying to apply traditional return on investment formulas to AI, it's like trying to measure the speed of your fiber optic internet with a sundial. It just doesn't compute. So the first big reason is that AI systems learn. This is so crucial. It's not like a normal piece of software that has a fixed value. No, AI gets smarter. It gets more efficient with every single piece of data it sees. This creates this incredible compounding effect that a simple one-time calculation just completely misses. And here's what that looks like. Traditional software gives you a straight, predictable line of value. AI, on the other hand, it delivers an exponential curve that goes up and up. A fraud detection model might save you 10% in the first month, sure. But by month 12, as it gets smarter, that could easily be 25%. That first snapshot of ROI, it just doesn't tell you the whole story, not even close. All right, next up is all the value you can't just circle on a spreadsheet. And I want you to really think about this. How do you put a dollar amount on a game-changing insight that suddenly opens up a whole new market? Or what about the boost in morale when your team doesn't have to do those tedious, soul-crushing tasks anymore? This indirect value is absolutely massive, but it gets ignored all the time. And this quote from the chief data officer at JPMorgan Chase just hits the nail on the head. They know their teams are getting hours back every single week. But as they said, it doesn't show up as a line item on the financial reports. This is that hidden value that traditional ROI is completely blind to. And finally, we've got to talk about costs. With AI, a huge chunk of the money, we're talking up to 80%, is spent right at the beginning, just getting your data and your systems ready. So your very first AI project is basically paving the highway for the next 10 projects that are going to come after it, which of course can make its individual ROI look pretty terrible at first glance. So if the old formula is broken, what's the new one? Well, it's time to open up the new playbook. This is a modern framework built on 10 specific metrics that capture the full spectrum of AI's value, and we've grouped them into 3 really important themes. Okay, our first theme is all about efficiency gains. This is where we measure if AI is helping you do what you already do, but just better. We're tracking 4 key things here: productivity gains measured in hours saved, direct cost reduction, a drop in error rates, and finally cutting down your process cycle time. Think of this as the operational engine of AI value. And let's make that real for a second. By using AI for contract analysis, JPMorgan Chase saved an incredible 360,000 work hours every year. Now, that's not just a number. That's literally years of high-value employee time that's been unlocked and can now be focused on more strategic, more creative work. That is real, tangible impact. But hey, AI isn't just about saving money. It's about making money. And that brings us to our second theme, business growth. Here, the whole focus shifts to the top line. We're tracking the direct revenue impact you can attribute to AI, and the lift you see in customer satisfaction scores like CSAT and NPS. Just look at Walmart. They directly credit their generative AI search tools for helping to drive a 22% surge in global e-commerce. I mean, wow, this is the perfect example of AI not just trimming costs in the background, but actively, measurably driving the business forward. Our final theme, foundational strength, is all about whether your AI program is built to last. These are your health indicators. We're looking at time to value, how fast you see that first benefit. Adoption rate, because a tool nobody uses is totally worthless. Risk mitigation, as in dollars and losses prevented. And the scalability index, which makes sure your systems can actually handle success when it comes. Okay, so we know what to measure. Great. Now, let's talk about how to measure it. And maybe most importantly, how to communicate that value to the people in charge. It is time to build your dashboard. Right. Your dashboard has to tell a clear, compelling story. You start with the headline, the overall ROI and total value delivered. Simple. Then you back it up with your 3 to 5 core metrics and show how they're trending. You have to show your health indicators, like adoption rates, and be totally transparent about any risks. This structure gives leadership everything they need, from that big picture view right down to the nitty-gritty details. And the timing, the cadence, it really matters. You don't look at everything all the time. You should keep a close eye on your operational health metrics every week to stay on top of things. Then, review the core business impact monthly. And then, every quarter, that's when you zoom out and you assess the big strategic picture, the overall ROI and the long-term value you're creating. But even with the best metrics and the most beautiful dashboards, there are some common mistakes that can completely sink your efforts. So let's talk about the pitfalls to avoid so all your hard work actually pays off. I want you to ask yourself one very direct question. When you talk about your AI progress, are you talking about activity or are you talking about outcomes? This right here is the single biggest mistake that companies make. Saying, we deployed 15 AI models, that's an activity. It's a vanity metric. It sounds impressive, but it means absolutely nothing to the business's bottom line. But saying, we reduced fraud losses by 23%, now that is an outcome. That is real, measurable business value. You have to always tie your activities back to a concrete outcome. So what is the new bottom line in all of this? Well, it's a fundamental shift in how we think. We have to stop thinking of AI as some one-off IT project. We need to start treating it like a living, breathing business product that needs constant measurement, constant optimization, and a crystal clear link to value. And here it is again, your 10-point checklist for a complete 360-degree view of your AI's performance. You've got efficiency gains like productivity and cost reduction. You've got growth drivers like revenue and customer satisfaction, all the way to those foundational strengths like adoption and scalability. This is your new playbook. And I'm going to leave you with this one final thought. Every single AI system out there is generating massive amounts of data, but the really crucial question you need to be asking isn't about the data. It's about the value. Is your AI just busy, or is it making your business demonstrably, provably better? Answering that question is what will define the winners and the losers of this AI revolution.